Buckingham Palace rarely sleeps. The chandeliers gleam at midnight just as they do in the morning. But tonight, the air was different, heavy with anticipation, electric with rumors. Whispers skated across polished marble halls, carried by palace staff and curious aides. Something had been revealed, something that shook the very bones of the monarchy. It was Prince William who had done it. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, daughters of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, had received the call just after sunset. They were at Beatrice's countryside estate, sipping elderflower cordial and discussing plans for a quiet charity initiative in the Lake District. William. Eugenie blinked at the phone, puzzled. He said it's urgent. Beatrice replied, face pale. We have to come to the palace. Now. They arrived in a flurry of black coats and fur-lined boots, ushered through the palace gates like shadows. Staff avoided eye contact, a signal that something serious had indeed happened. The sisters were led straight to the Queen's private drawing room, though the Queen herself was notably absent. Waiting for them was Prince William. He stood with his back to the fire, his uniform crisply pressed, a tension in his jawline that made him look more like a soldier than a prince. You're here, he said simply. Beatrice and Eugenie exchanged glances. The room was quiet save for the soft ticking of a golden clock. What's going on? Eugenie asked, her voice low. Why the sudden summons? William hesitated. This was no small matter. In his hand was a leather folder, the royal monogram glinted under the light. He opened it slowly, deliberately, like a man revealing the ending of a long-buried story. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I found something, he began, something that changes everything. They waited. It was during a routine audit of the royal archives, he continued. A collection of sealed correspondence, marked for future heir only. I had them unsealed after the accession council, and within it were letters from our great-grandmother, the Queen Mother. Beatrice raised a brow. And she wrote of a hidden contingency, a plan, a prophecy, if you will, that speaks of the true bearers of the crown's conscience. Eugenie frowned. You're talking in riddles, William. I'm talking about the fact that she predicted a time would come when the monarchy would stand at a crossroads, when tradition alone wouldn't be enough. She believed the future would require voices from within, royal by blood, but unburdened by direct succession. Beatrice's heart skipped. You mean us? William nodded. She believed you both, as daughters of the blood, but not bound to the crown, would be essential in restoring public trust and shaping a more transparent, empathetic monarchy. Eugenie sat back, stunned. But we're barely visible in the senior circle. That's by design. Which is exactly why she thought you'd succeed where others might fail, William replied. You've lived real lives. Careers. Families. You've touched the world we serve in ways few royals ever do. The people need that. And after the last few years, he didn't need to finish. They all knew the scandals, the losses, the media chaos. Harry and Meghan's departure. The controversies swirling around Prince Andrew. The Queen's death. The quiet, aching question in the nation's heart. What happens now? I'm asking you, William said gently, to come back to the palace. Not as guests. As senior royals. Silence fell. Beatrice felt a rush of emotions, pride, fear, confusion. She glanced at Eugenie, who looked equally overwhelmed. You'd have to take on engagements. Speak on behalf of the crown, William said. Sit on the council. Represent us abroad. But more importantly, you'd help define what royalty means in this new age. Beatrice exhaled. This is a lot. I know. Eugenie stood and walked to the window, gazing at the palace gardens under moonlight. Do you really believe we're the ones for this? William approached her, his voice steady. I do. Not because a letter says so, but because I've seen you both. How you carry yourselves. How people respond to you. Beatrice turned the words over in her mind. For so long, she thought her role was simply to exist on the periphery. A supporting character. Not anymore. Then we'll do it, she said quietly. We'll step in. Eugenie nodded. Together. William allowed himself a rare smile. The announcement came 3 days later. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. In a press conference held at Clarence's house, William stood flanked by Beatrice and Eugenie. The world's press waited with bated breath. As we navigate the evolving role of the British monarchy in the 21st century, he said, it's time we bring forward new voices. I am proud to welcome back Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie as senior members of the royal family. Cameras flashed. The public reaction was instant and intense. Some were thrilled. They remembered the sisters from royal weddings and balcony waves. Others were skeptical. But all were curious. What would this new monarchy look like? Within weeks, Beatrice and Eugenie were everywhere. Beatrice, with her sharp mind and background in finance, took the helm of a Royal Technology and Innovation Council, advocating for ethical AI and digital literacy in underprivileged schools. Eugenie, passionate about anti-slavery and art, launched a bold exhibition series that partnered with survivors and artists to tell stories the Crown had never told before. Together, they brought warmth and relatability to their roles, taking selfies with children, appearing on podcasts, even co-hosting a BBC documentary titled The Crown and the People, A New Chapter. The public noticed. Approval ratings surged. Royal engagements began trending on social media for reasons other than fashion. At schools, young girls pointed at Eugenie and said, "She's like me." At startups, Beatrice was hailed as the royal who codes. But within the palace, not all were pleased. Whispers began in old corridors. Traditionalists frowned upon Eugenie's Instagram posts and Beatrice's frank interviews. "They're diluting the mystique," muttered a distant cousin. "They're connecting with the people," countered William. Still, tensions simmered. And then came the question. The moment every transformation faces. One evening, after a joint engagement in Glasgow, a reporter asked Beatrice directly, "Do you believe the monarchy still has a place in Britain's future?" The silence lasted a beat too long. Beatrice looked him in the eye and said, "I believe it can, but only if we listen, evolve, and prove our worth. The monarchy must serve, not be served." The clip went viral. Some saw it as revolutionary. Others saw it as dangerous. In a private meeting at Windsor, the King, Charles III, summoned William, Beatrice, and Eugenie. "I watched the interview," he said slowly. "They waited. And I agree." The room breathed. "I was raised to believe tradition was unshakable," Charles continued. "But even the strongest tree must bend with the wind, or it breaks." He stood and approached his nieces. "Your great-grandmother was right. The monarchy needs more than duty. It needs humanity." By year's end, Beatrice and Eugenie were officially installed as working royals with permanent roles. Their inclusion became a cornerstone of the Modern Monarchy Initiative, a blueprint for royal relevance in a changing world. And one quiet evening, as snow dusted the gates of Buckingham Palace, the sisters stood at the balcony once more. Not as ornaments of tradition, but as authors of the future. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.